very happy to be asking questions of your executive producer and star of The Green Veil, John. Yes. I think this is a fun experience in the sense that The Green Veil is it's un poco serio, a little dramatic, right? But then we get to see John afterwards and talk to him about everything that went into it. So I would love to hear kind of the origin story, how it came to be, kind of why now for this, what you love about kind of pursuing this character, producing.
You got right, great question. I mean, I know the series is kind of a dark subject matter, and I think it's really important not to run away from dark subject
Real
matter.
history though.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I loved about this. Aaron Rappaport, the creator of the piece, did research and found this incredible thing that in the 1950s, the US government was involved in taking Native American children from their families and putting them up for adoption so they couldn't inherit the land so they could give it to oil companies. And, you know, we've all heard about the Carlisle schools and, you know, Captain Pratt, I think it was, who said, kill the Indian, save the man. We knew that happened in the late 1800s and early 1900s, but you could not believe that in 1950s America, they were still doing damage to Native American people. So I felt like we got to do this story.
Right. I mean, yeah. In the 80s almost, right?
It was from the 50s to the 80s.
Yeah, dark. But how did you kind of discover it, and what was the process of kind of finding your producing partner and bringing it to life?
Well, Aaron and I talked about it a lot. He's the creator and writer of it. And we took the actual facts, and then this is historical fiction. We made it so that we can understand what happened. And to create this character, Gordo, who you don't have to like me, you don't need to like me, you shouldn't like me, but I wanted you to understand how a person like this is formed, how a person like this can do this to his own people, because we Latin people are at an amazing crossroads right now, where we are accepting and being proud of being indigenous and Afro-Latino. Finally, you know, I mean, we've been so colonized and so sort of self-hating and running away, you know, everybody's, no, I'm Spanish, I'm not native, you know.
We're forced to assimilate, right?
Right, all that. So, but this story takes place in the 50s, where it wasn't okay to be anything but white, and even white women were oppressed. And so we said, let's make the story happen and create this sort of self-hating human being who creates these atrocities on his own people, because, you know, these people do exist in our culture, where we can be the worst to our own culture to try to pass and to try to fit in. Because when you watch Fox News, I do to watch The Enemy, and you see all these border stories, that's all they talk about. Who are the people who are, you know, letting women drown with their babies and capturing them? It's Latinos on the border who are MAGA and voting for Trump because they're protecting their jobs. So that's where I got the inspiration for that. And also Enrique Terrio, who was the head of the Proud Boys, and you have Nick Fuentes, the right-wing white nationalist guy who's Mexican, of Mexican descent. So you have all these Latin people in power working with white nationalists against their own people, and it's all very confusing to me, because Enrique Terrio is Afro-Latino, but he's leading white nationalists. Do they not know that he's Afro-Latino? I mean, the whole thing is bonkers to me, but that's America.
Well, but I think you all saw the first 4. There are 4 more. Very quick, wonderful watches, just so you know. You can kind of tease about Gordo, or if you would like to, tease like Gordo's kind of arc and what he's trying to do and assimilate and force an agenda. Maybe it doesn't work out. Because I'm sure, you know, as an actor and a creator and producer here, that had to have been kind of almost, whether it was challenging or kind of delicious.
Actor catnip?
Right, yeah, that's what I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm an actor who loves to map out my character arc. That's what I live for, you to map out every little detail of what makes these characters turn and how they change and how they evolve. And yeah, we mapped it out with Aaron, very meticulously. And this guy thinks, Gordo thinks, if he thinks he's passing, first of all. In our culture, in Latin culture, and in Black culture, there's people who think they can pass, and you're like, it's laughable, but they do think. And he married a white woman, thinking that'll work, and he couldn't have a white child, so he adopts one to try to pass even more. And he thinks if he does everything by the book and plays and tortures these people, that he's going to win and be accepted and achieve and get the American dream. And you'll see the end that maybe it doesn't all work out.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the fun of the acting in this? Because I think many of you have seen John's work, yes? I'm sure. This is a little different character.
I've done over 100 films, not all good.
Colorful. You're
No, some of them have been really good. Some of them, it doesn't always work out.
Yeah, but I have to imagine this is it's a fun challenge, right? Whereas the longevity you've had, the legacy you've built.
Yeah, I don't know if fun is the word I would use, because there was moments there when we were acting, but it was horrific what you were doing, and you left with these horrible feelings that were hard to shake off. But I love the challenge. I love the challenge of making this character real. And that's where I felt like, I feel like I've come to my own as an actor to be able to play these darker notes, these edgier notes, and subtly, and make them real. I think that's where the test of an actor is, how can I make this real and believable.
Right, I'm assuming we have a couple actors in here, yeah? Maybe? Yeah, they're always San Montero.
You're in California.
Yes. And not to get too processy, but for some of the more like physical, emotionally demanding scenes, can you talk a little bit about how you approach those now, if it's different from how you started, or if it's a conversation with your co-stars and how you kind of set it up, or if there's choreography involved?
Well, definitely. I studied at Strasberg Institute, so I'm kind of methody, and I also studied at HB with Uta Hagen, so I'm also very technical, because they're very kind of opposing methods of acting, but very necessary, And so, I live with Gordo, and I spent a lot of time isolating to keep these emotions raw. I can't be chatty, I can't be real chummy. When you play roles like this, you dissipate your energy, and then when you go on camera, it all gets flattened out. So I had to kind of isolate a lot and just sit and simmer and marinate, which is hard. But I'm older now, and I can do that. And I know it'll pass. And luckily it wasn't a long shoot. It was 20 odd days. So yeah.
That's a lot. 20 odd days in like 24 minutes for 8 episodes.
Yeah. We're doing 20 pages a day, which is, you have to be at the top of your game. There's not a lot of room for error or mistakes.
Yeah, so if you're living in the character kind of every day, do you have a method to let yourself go when you go home every day? Or you kind of, is it helpful to kind of exist in some of that?
It's helpful to exist in it, but I have to shut down and just meditate and try to leave into the space for a while and then start again the next day to go to these places. I have amazing actors. Hani, who plays my wife, we had an incredible rapport. We worked on the scenes, and the subtlety of this sick, dysfunctional relationship was a fun game to play together. Because they love each other and they're turned on by each other, but they're sick individuals, both.
Yeah, it seems like both characters, or at least Gordon and your wife, both know who they are and what it is, right?
Yes.
What they're supposed to be doing.
Right. And we had intimacy coordinator, which I love.
Great.
Because I've done a lot of sex scenes in my life, and they've been very uncomfortable. And there's always so much fear and of inappropriateness or crossing boundaries. but not with an intimacy coordinator. You know, we talk about everything up front. We talk about what you're not comfortable with, what you won't do, and then you feel safe and protected, and everybody feels great. Then you can do crazy sex scenes like you saw tonight.
But it's almost like choreography in a sense,
yes.
Right? Yeah, which that makes sense.
But it also looks more real.
Yeah.
And you can go further because you have a safety zone now and safe words and all that.
Yeah. Well, in talking about your co-stars a little bit, was there something kind of a favorite day with them on set, or kind of a favorite day with the material, or just even everyone kind of delving into the history that actually inspired the project?
Oh yeah, you know, I watched the documentary that Aaron gave me where several of the children that had been taken, you know, they had interviews, and a lot of them, some of them had committed suicide. There was a lot of addiction, alcoholism, and just very damaged lives with this thing did, the system. A great day was working with Hani in all the dining room scenes as our relationship became more tortured and less subtle. You know, Gordon started feeling very betrayed by her as she was getting more empowered, and he felt his career was being threatened. So that was really interesting for us to map out the evolution of that relationship.
Right. What did you enjoy about executive producing? I don't know if it changes the game for you. I liked watching, being able to root for Hani and sort of kind of being worried about what Gordon was going to do. But that's part of the fun of the storytelling. But what kind of executive producer are you?
You know, I do love executive producing because you get a chance to help bring to life stories that nobody else will do. You know, this was a hard sell because you talk about Native American stories led by a Latin man. It was too much for the networks and the studios to wrap their minds around. So we went and we did it independently, which has never been done before. A negative pickup was what you did with indie films, but you never did it with a series. So yeah,
that's actually
that's very pioneering. And then we created our own platform because even though networks and streamers loved the show and they offered Aaron tons of shows to do, they would not pick it up. So we created our own platform to give other shows like ours a chance.
Finish before you pitched it, or you're saying you're pitching it to streamers and then you went and shot it on your own?
No, we shot it
Okay.
and then pitched it. We sent them 2 episodes. And then they're all like, we love it, we want to see all 8. And then they saw all 8, we love it, we'd like to hire Aaron to do other stuff.
Was it always 8 episodes and then like the shorter format? We were talking about this earlier. I think all of us that maybe watch series are great with like a shorter runtime of a TV series versus like we complain about a 2.5-hour movie. But I love the runtime of the episodes.
Yeah, no, it was 6. It was 6. It was 4 at first and 6, but they were longer. Obviously, they were an hour long. But Aaron edited as well. He wrote, produced, directed, and edited by himself. He's incredible. He's a superstar. Yeah. And he went along, and I suggested maybe it could be 6, and then he said, no, let's make it 8. And then he did the voiceovers. We did it with the daughter first. She did it all, and it was not working. And I did it all, and he was too unsympathetic character to carry the whole show. So then he came up with every character does a different episode. And I've never seen that before, ever. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I think hopefully you're all gonna wanna finish the last 4 when you go home. But I feel like there's a pretty excellent thing in the final episode.
Yes.
If you wanna tease. It's pretty good to look forward to, right? If you want to.
Well, my character gets his. You don't
even have to say that. I'm like, just one on with the descendant.
Yes, then we have real interviews with kids who were taken as young people from their homes. Yeah. And Aaron went and found a couple, and it was hard for them to talk. So some of them didn't make it to the cut, because they couldn't talk. They would get very, very, very emotional, and Aaron would get very emotional. And so it was very difficult for them to talk about the experience, but the ones that were able to made it to the cut.
Yeah, excellent tease. I just want you all to kind of be aware, right? You've seen these four, and you're kind of like, it's based on real history. Now I need to go Google all this stuff, and there's kind of a really lovely.
And you get it for free.
Yes.
Anything for free is for me, and I'm sure you're like me. And that's the network.stream. So you don't have to even put a credit card, you just have to subscribe, but it's free. You just have to put up with advertising because that's how we pay for it.
Right. What are you enjoying kind of about the experience of this? I think there's something in John's bio for this that said, first time leading role in a series,
Yes.
which I was sort of surprised by. I'm assuming.
Everybody's surprised by
But
that.
I assume you've been offered other things, but I just kind of, what are you enjoying about this project now that you're kind of really involved in and doing something that's meaty, means something, like all of those
Yes,
things?
absolutely. Yes, it's, as a Latin man, I don't get enough great roles offered my way, but I do get some, not up to my standards, so I haven't done it. And then this came along, which I thought was so powerful and important, and I wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, it's my first lead in a TV series, and I felt that we did something really important. Nareen Bedard, who's in the show, she talked to us through it and told us what was working, what wasn't working for her. We talked to the Mohegan Nation, and they helped us also. They consulted for us and told us what was working for them and what wasn't. And they found it so powerful. I mean, it's triggering for a lot of people. It's triggering for me. I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult subject matter, but important because it did happen. It's American history. We can't run from it. We have to see it so we don't repeat it.
Right. Well, I feel like you're a great activist for representation. I think a lot of us know what that means. Obviously, I cannot say that from where I'm talking right now.
But you're an ally, and you
Yes.
understand, and that's
very
just as
kind.
important.
Right, but what does it kind of mean in that sense, right? Like creating it on your own, being able to put it out on your own, and kind of it's something meaningful. Again, you've done so many incredible things throughout your career, but I feel like hopefully you've gotten to a place where you feel kind of comfortable to kind of balls to the wall, or whatever you like are passionate about, right?
Yes, I try to do what I'm really passionate about. I think that's what motivates me and inspires me to do work that challenges me as an artist. That feels like I'm playing in the NBA Finals of acting. You know what I mean? It just feels like you're giving it your all and you're using yourself as an improviser, as an actor, as a writer, as a producer, all of it, to make a piece of work like this.
Yeah. How are you feeling about your career, like at the moment, and kind of what you've gotten to do? I know a lot of actors talk about it's all about the next job, right? Which is stressful, but are you in a place where you can kind of do what you want? And
Yeah,
I feel like you've also done that, right? Like John has kind of done what he, hopefully.
There's a lot of great things coming my way. We were talking about Ice Age 6.
Wow.
I'm doing an amazing series, a crime series with Dennis Lehane, amazing actors, Taron Egerton and Journey Smollett. And then season 2 of MSNBC Leguizamo is America. I got a PBS series that I'm so proud of, The Untold History of Latinos. I created it, and it's, the first episode is the empires, the second episode is from the conquest to the 1900s, and the third episode is 1900s to 1970. And it's about all the things that we've experienced in America. But I also see a lot of Latin talent out there that's brilliant and thirsty and gets no play. And I talk to executives, Latin executives all across America, and they tell me, I don't get promoted. I just don't. I train everybody, and I'm good enough to train them, but I'm not good enough to be promoted. But they all move up around me. And it's in tech, it's in corporations. Hollywood, it's easier to see what's going on, and that's not okay with me. We Latin people at 20% of the population, almost 30% of the US box office, almost 30% of subscribers for streamers, a third of sports fans, and less than 6% of the leads, less than 1% of the executives, less than 1% of the stories being told. And that's not okay. It's not okay. I'm not asking for more. I'm asking for what's just. I'm asking for 15% of the population. I'm not asking for 30%, which is what we should be getting, of the roles and the stories and the executives. I'm asking about, give us 20%. You know, that's fair, that's parity. Because look, where are we? We're in LA, Hollywood, which was Mexico until 1830. When Hollywood started here, the majority of the people in this city were Latinos. How did you create all these movies without Latinos? They were surrounded by them. So you can only imagine it was segregation. There was segregation here, redlining, and Hollywood was a whites only game until when the Latinos started to get some play. Maybe Desi Arnaz got, you know how hard Lucy fought to have him, because they didn't want to have a Latin man with a white woman on the show, and it was the biggest hit America had. But then we disappeared completely again.
Yeah.
So it's been rough being Latino in America, you know. Not as rough as being a black person in America, but we're second there. I mean, 6,000 Latinos were lynched, shot alive, and burned alive in America from 1830 to 1930. Jim Crow laws are all in Southwest and the West. You know, they called them Juan Crow back in the day, where we weren't allowed to go into churches with white people, go to parks, go to theaters, barber shops. We had to have a separate theater. So, you know, our experience here has not been easy. And that's when you wonder because I always wonder, why